Hello everybody, Dominomial here, and welcome back to another episode of CrossCode. Last episode, we saw the aftermath of what happened after being gone for several days, essentially. A week, in particular. I forgot that these plants teleport. And they only give 60 XP. But last episode, we also met Apollo, and, well, we didn't meet him. We teamed up with him. And I guess Jorn, he's also here too, even though he's just kind of the character that's been there the whole time with no real impact. He's kind of like Brock, in the sense that he's there but doesn't do anything. Well, I guess he did manage to convince Apollo to, form a party. Oh, we had to jump along this route. Okay. So is that how you get that chest? There are flowers here. Okay. So it's been a while since we had a proper episode. Just a exploratory episode where just kind of hang out and explore and do whatever. And I'm finally glad that we get to have one of these episodes. Don't get me wrong, I really like this game. I think it's a really good game. I mean, especially considering it's an indie game. It's an action-adventure RPG indie game. Like, of course, like... Well, thing is, it's kind of hard to, sell this type of, like, game. Like, especially indie RPGs, because indie RPGs are just kind of hard to sell, to be honest. It's just... Why would I play an indie RPG when I could play a full-blown RPG that has a lot of stuff going on? I know that's kind of rude of me to say to the entire indie game community out there, but RPGs specifically are kind of weird for me when it comes to being indie title or not. But this game is actually... Well, yeah, I wouldn't be Let's Playing this game if it wasn't good. And the banter between Apollo and Jorn here is actually pretty funny, because Apollo's trying to keep up his big hero act. But, yeah, okay. These slimes are weak to ice. As you can figure. And we don't get a whole ton of experience, because if you look at the party, we are over-leveled. We are over-leveled. This is the first time you'll be naturally over-leveled. I guess there's a chest here. I'll mark that or something. Oh shoot, now that I'm free to talk... Okay, yeah. So I guess I'll talk a bit about my thoughts on what happened in the last few episodes, because I really didn't get a chance to talk about the story, considering all the story was happening at once. And, well, I really like the story in this game. I like it, but I also... the critic inside me can't help but have a few qualms with how they handle things. I can't really go too much into detail without spoiling what happens later on, but essentially I feel like... I'll talk about the last part specifically, the last few parts specifically, like the whole mission escape thing, or not mission escape, Vermilion Wasteland thing. The one, like, big gripe I have with the story in Vermilion Wasteland is that it just... They introduce so many elements at once that it's really hard to keep up with. And... yeah, that's just kinda... It makes sense, because they have to introduce all those elements at once to make the story as compelling as it is, but at the same time, you're also trying to figure out what the hell is happening in the story first time you go through this game. Like, first you learn that Leia is in fact an AI, an Evotar, and then you find Gotham for the first time in his real life person, because Gotham is a real life person inside the Crossworlds. Maybe I shouldn't have said that, but it's pretty easy to piece together anyway, because he's dressed like a normal person, and yeah. And I don't really know how that works entirely, in a sense, because... So the thing is, the setting with this game is that this game is an MMORPG. Simple enough. You are controlling Leia, the Avatar. You have direct control of Avatar. But if you're talking about setting here, you're controlling the player that's controlling the Avatar. If you're talking about, what the player is controlling. And that's what we thought for the whole beginning of the game. We thought we were controlling the person behind Leia, the one that kind of has no memory. We're trying to figure out who the player, the player's backstory for Leia is, but we learned that Leia is actually her own entity, and not being controlled by a separate player. That's why the whole AI Evotar thing is a really surprising development, because, some may call it a little bit predictable, and I will admit, you definitely see the the foreshadowing if you look closely enough, and I was even making fun of it a little bit beforehand. But first time I played this game, I definitely did not see that coming. And, I kind of consider myself kind of decent at least predicting story elements of games. I totally did not see that first time I played through the game. And that's good, because it really took me by surprise when I played the game. But the main problem I have is, Leia is an Evotar. They wanted to introduce that then and there, by literally having who you thought you were playing as come and say, oh, you're a fake person, essentially. And Leia's whole breakdown, that was a really good scene. I really love how you kind of got to see unique sprites, and it was kind of, of course it was choreographed, like a cutscene, but they managed to work the in-game assets into the cutscene, which, I know that's kind of what you'd expect, but you'd be surprised at how many RPGs or, games nowadays don't incorporate cutscenes in some of the most important parts, or even show what's going on. Yes, this game has had its slight problems with storytelling with Vermilion Wasteland by explaining a whole lot of stuff, but the stuff it did right, it did well. It did really, amazing. I don't know, I just feel that maybe one or two less things happening would be maybe a little bit more beneficial, maybe leave a couple more loose ends. Because that whole Vermilion Wasteland escape sequence, and that whole part, we got to see how great of a character Lucas was. And then that all just kind of went away when they said, but that was an Evotar. So, never mind. I guess Lucas isn't that good of a character. Even though the Evotar has the same memories and personality as Lucas, it's just Evotar Lucas is different than real person Lucas. And yeah, it makes sense. I don't think it's a bad thing that they completely removed Evotar Lucas for the time being. Or basically said, oh yeah, that Lucas was not the real Lucas, because that's what led to us joining up with Apollo. Oh boy, that's leg spike. Wow, that laser is really good. I never used that in my first playthrough. I'm going to eat a sandwich. So, yeah, I do think that maybe the story does go a little bit too fast too quickly, and it kind of loses its believability after a while. Like, it's not supposed to be super believable, because it is just a story. It is a story, and, like, whether it's supposed to be believable or not is up for the authors to decide, and it's up for the players to interpret that. I'm not really judging too harshly based on believability, because I still like the characters. I still feel bad for Leia that she's in the situation that she is right now. It's just you can only go too far with the climax before it's kind of like, okay, but like, what's actually happening? Like, how did this series of events occur, and why am I here? And that's kind of the one problem I have with it, because if you overthink it, it starts to feel less and less exciting, even though that part of the game was really good. It's really good. My favorite part of the game by far, and we are nearing in on the worst part of the game soon. Yes, we're nearing in on the worst part of the game. I hope you guys will enjoy that, because it isn't the worst part of the game in terms of, like, actual gameplay. It's just the worst in terms of pacing. Because this game pacing, that it does not have. Also, that was a really cool throw shot. Oh, come on. At least Leia has invincibility frames while doing that laser. Or, like, she can't get attacked because she's high up above the ground. Yeah, so I like this story, and if you guys watching were thinking that maybe the story is a little bit too melodramatic in a sense, or maybe too I don't know. If it's too over the top, then I kind of understand. But also, if I just explained like my thoughts on the story in the last sequence, and I kind of ruined that last sequence for you, I am sorry. I did not mean to do that. Well, no more enemies to fight. This is a place that we can't go yet. Oh, more lizardmen. Please calm down. Shad will not stand down. Humans have poisoned Great Jungle. No more. We block entrance for all to save Jungle. Yeah, okay, so basically we can't get to the dungeon yet because the Shad are blocking the way because they built the dungeon or the power plant. We need to go on a fetch quest to get to the mayor of the town and then talk to the mayor and see if he can do anything about it, and then... Yeah. You can kind of see where this is going, where this game kind of starts to fall apart a little bit in its pacing, because in the desert area, we basically got to the dungeon immediately after one brief quest. This is, a lot longer than just one brief quest. Okay. Yeah, so this game is good. Don't let what I say about the story, drive you away from the game potentially, because this game deserves... It deserves more love than it has, to be honest. I don't see enough people talk about this game. People are always talking about Hollow Knight, or Undertale, or Hades, when it comes to really good indie RPGs, but this game, it has its following. There's enough people, like, people like this game. It's just not talked about. It's not some kind of, like, big hit like those games are. Like, Hades, I don't know, Binding of Isaac, Gungeon. Now I'm just naming roguelikes. But you know what I mean. Oh, right. Binding of Isaac. It got the new Repentance DLC on PC. I'm waiting for it on Switch. Do you know how hard it is to wait to, like, play a game on a console that you have, but it's out on another one? Like, of course I could get Repentance on PC, but I have a 100% save file on the Switch version of Afterbirth Plus, and I don't want to make that go to waste. I don't want to waste, all that time I spent in Binding of Isaac Afterbirth to just restart with Repentance. Because it would be easier for me to wait for Repentance to come out and have all my Afterbirth content than start from scratch with Repentance. And I'm looking at Repentance, like some of it, like just very basic stuff. Like I see thumbnails on YouTube videos. I don't click them, but I see them, and I'm listening to the OST. The OST of Repentance is really good. I love it. There are a couple songs that I think Anti-Birth did better, but Repentance, really good soundtrack. It has a much more melancholic and sinister feel to it that it's just, I love it. I love it. So good. You don't want to go to the right. I think the town that we need to go to is to the south. Whatever. I mean, we do need to fill in this map. Also, watch out for the cats. You don't want to be in close combat with them. They suck. They suck. They're awful. Basin Deep? Oh. I guess we just have to go straight north. Straight west, then north. We went around in a whole circle, but didn't go into the giant pathway to the town. Cool. Cool. We're supposed to go this way. Because this leads to the town. And if you turn on weather effects, then the rain won't appear, and it's really awkward because sometimes the NPCs will talk about how it's eternally raining, and you don't see any rain. That's why I turned the weather effects back on before getting here. Here we are. Oh, right, I forgot this song was kind of neat. Some neat, like, jazz that I can put in, like, the City and War campaign. I already have a lot of jazz songs for that campaign, though, so whatever. No joke, that's a big city. Basin Keep, bustling city of the jungle, a place full of opportunity. Yet there resides a severe lack of justice, dividing the poor from the rich. I also don't like the rain. Yes, the rain. The poor folks of the city have to suffer through it all year long. Why? They say it's the jungle's answer to this iron scar amid its sea of trees. Bummer. So, what now? First, there is a dire need to prepare for all the dangers of this wilderness. Fortunately, we will find lots of expertly crafted goods in this trading hotspot. And of course, there is an urgent task to speak to the mayor. Remember the blockade in front of the temples? Right. Okay. So... Ooh, Petal Cloak. I can get that? Yes, please. I don't have money. How much do I need? I need 2,000 more credits. Hello, big guy.
Good evening, tiny one.
Hi.
I am the Boozy Man. I am doing business in this town, you see? And I just happen to be looking for some kind souls to help me.
Okay, I'm not gonna do that voice. He wants us to kill some Jack's Flames. Or kill some Jack-o'-lanterns to get Jack's Flames. What's the reward? Don't know the reward, but, I guess it's fair enough to put that on some kind of priority. Because usually the rewards you don't know tend to be some of the better ones. Static furball. I just want to go in the store and sell some stuff real quickly. I want to, I don't know, sell like a gold bar or something. 300 EXP. Yeah, fine, whatever. Okay. That's just... That wasn't a store. What? Come on, give me a store. Give me a store, please. Just more guild stuff. What was that quest? I mean, I'll put them on priority, but I'm probably not gonna do them. Okay. I think the stores are actually back here. Somewhere here? Oh, these are the stores. So you can buy your usual stuff. But I want to sell. And I want to sell, of course, all of these. All of these, yeah. And... please. I guess you can't sell all the rookie stuff because if you don't have any equipment, it'll just default to that to prevent from crashing. Just don't mind me just selling everything. Is there anything good that I can sell? Don't I have those golden bars or whatever that I can sell? Maybe not. Oh, golden bars. Yes, I can sell them, and they sell for quite a bit. And now I want to get the HP regen vest because HP regen is really good. It's really good. You don't want to miss out on something like that. So I'm going to get that and then equip the vest. Or the cloak, sorry. Yes. I have negative fire resistance, but you don't need to worry about fire for like a good chunk of the game coming up. So, yeah. Yeah. So, take my word, you don't need to worry about fire resistance or anything like that. You don't need to worry about fire or ice resistance, essentially. Because, this whole area is about electricity and wave. Whatever that means. Yeah, so for Binding of Isaac Repentance, I'm looking at all the, extra stuff that they added. Kinda, like, just through the thumbnails. I don't want to spoil myself too much. And there is so much extra, like, it's basically like they tripled the amount of content from Afterbirth Plus. You can read this dialogue on your own. I don't care enough. But they basically added a whole shit ton of content, including like a true co-op mode. Because Afterbirth Plus had co-op, but like, it wasn't true co-op. Like, it was essentially like kind of like Mario Odyssey co-op, where like second player could play and they did control a partner, but they didn't control like an Isaac. They controlled like a baby that just floated around and did damage, and they stole a harder, so whenever they wanted to pop in. This game, Repentance adds co-op where everybody can play as Isaac, get extra items, and all that stuff. And I did watch one live stream of Repentance, but that's it. And all the new areas look really cool. I mean, yeah, sure, it's just Anti-Birth, but Anti-Birth is a really good mod. I'm fine with all the new areas. They look cool. And listening to the OST, I can tell that shit gets real in that game. Like, I don't know everything, but I think at one point that maybe you have to backtrack through all the areas once you get to the end of a specific type of run. I also know that, well, one of the songs is just one of the songs I didn't expect to see in a game in 2021, Living in the Light. Because I just didn't expect a song like that, even in Isaac, even for the Isaac standards. And apparently, well, they added a couple new characters, of course, but apparently there are tainted versions of all the characters, and they all have different mechanics than their original counterparts. I don't know how you unlock the tainted characters, mind you. You probably had to do a specific type of run with said character, and then you unlock the tainted version. And I don't know how the tainted characters work. I don't know any of the mechanics of the tainted characters, but since they had to add an alternate version of each character with separate mechanics for each of them, they basically doubled the amount of characters from Afterbirth Plus. And, this is gonna be the kicker here. Do they count as separate characters or just alternates? Because if they count as separate characters entirely and they have their own, like, run sheet, their own checklist, then that means I have to do all of the Afterbirth runs, plus all the Repentance runs, including the OG cast, for all the characters, and that means there are, like, 36 characters in the game or something. So, essentially multiply 12 runs, or something like that, by 36, or, well, 17, and then multiply 3 by, 17, right? Well, it just adds up to a shit ton of time, and I hope I don't need to spend... Well, no, I'm going to love playing the game otherwise, but I want to keep my 100% save file. I want to 100% the game again once Repentance comes out. And if it means I have to spend 1,000 extra hours in that game, then I'll do it. But even I sometimes get sick of Isaac. But Repentance does look really fun, though. It really does look fun. New areas look interesting. The game looks a lot harder, which I'm terrified of, because even though Afterbirth, after I completed the first few runs, I thought the game got kinda easy, especially as I unlocked more and more items and I maxed out the shop level with the donation machine. But Repentance, it looks like they doubled or even tripled the difficulty of the game if you go to the alternate areas. Because Isaac Afterbirth Plus, basically vanilla at this point, but it's not, it's Afterbirth Plus. Okay. Yeah, but essentially, what was I getting at? Oh yeah, but essentially all the bosses, like some of the later bosses in Isaac Afterbirth Plus, they did become some bullet hell ones, like Hush, for example. The boss that you fight by beating the Utero in under 30 minutes. And you can choose to go there for an extra difficult boss. That's basically a bullet hell battle, but like a light bullet hell. And some of the boss elements had very, very light bullet hell elements. I'd argue some of the hardest bosses in Isaac aren't the ones that shoot a shit ton of bullets, but are the ones that have really fast animations and barely any cues to do anything, or to react to anyway. So, I'm talking like the Acolyte with like this brimstone beam. And if you haven't played Isaac, don't worry about it. I'm just going on rants. And it's more interesting than me doing dialogue for NPC number 37. So, yeah, I'm excited to get back into playing Binding of Isaac. Quarter 3 is going to be fucking phenomenal whenever the Switch version comes out. And I wonder if maybe I should pick up a physical copy of Repentance. Not to actually play, but maybe just to keep and not open, because I don't know how it's going to work, but I feel like if I pick up Repentance, either my physical version of Afterbirth Plus will go up in price, or Repentance will go up in price. I don't know which, though. Because I feel like everybody that bought Binding of Isaac physically already bought it for the Switch physically. So everybody would have the Afterbirth Plus cartridge, and so maybe nobody would buy Repentance. But maybe Repentance will spark on a new What rabbit hole am I going down? Why am I talking about collecting a physical version of Isaac? God damn it. Xenosaga, those games ruined me as far as it comes to collecting games. Because, I got Xenosaga Episode 3 loose, for $130 or some shit like that. I'm like, now whenever I get a game physically, I'm like, wonder how much this can go for in the future. Like, I have Paper Mario 1000 Year Door complete in manual. And I know that game doesn't go for too much as far as rare games go. But I know that game will probably become more and more rare in the future as more Paper Mario games come out, because everybody will keep on complaining, it isn't like TTYD, it isn't like TTYD, it's not good, it doesn't have a turn-based battle system, it doesn't have the terrible pacing of TTYD, it has better pacing. Sorry, you can tell I have a little bit of a grudge against TTYD. People will probably buy TTYD more and more as they refuse to release it digitally in the future. Because Nintendo, as far as it comes with, as far as it goes with re-releasing games or like preserving their games, they're really bad at that. Sony too, but now that they took back the order to delete the PS Vita and PS3 shops, it's like, yeah, well, okay, cool, I guess that's better, but you still intended to do it in the first place, you just didn't want to because of the backlash. You didn't commit to it, which is good. That's good. It's good that they at least somewhat listen to their consumers. It's just, it's a dick move to try and pull off all these old games that you have on your console that you can't get anywhere else but physically for over $500. If I had a PS3 or PS Vita, I would totally have gotten some of those old games by now. But I don't, so there's that. Okay. Wait. Verta? No? southeast of Gaia's Garden. Am I supposed to go down further? I'm only half paying attention, as you can tell, because this part of the game is just bad. It's just not good, pacing-wise. This is the filler episode, and this game knows it. Also, fuck the electric cats. The electric cats suck. They are the worst. As you will see later on. Ah, here's the village. Indeed, far off from the base. Okay, whatever. Let's just go southeast. So, yeah, to go to the east part of the village. Woo! Side questing, but mandatory side questing. This place is neat. Yeah, whatever. Where do I go, though? Where do I go for this NPC? Here? Oh. No. Oh, hey, landmark discovered. Now we can fast travel here. I guess I'll do the dialogue. You've come! Quick, follow me! Wow. Good dialogue. Good dialogue. Okay, fine. You know what? It's a little bit of a long one, but I'll call it here. This is the end of this episode, and in the next episode, we will continue on this stupid side quest, whatever. But I'll continue talking about some more stuff, so look forward to that, and I won't be talking about Isaac. I'll be talking about different games instead, so see you then. Bye.